my scrappy friends. How are you guys tonight? I have another process video for you. I actually worked on this during the week, but it has been a super crazy week for me. My daughter had chemo in the clinic, and we found out that some of her numbers were a little low, so it's been a little rough week for her. So thankfully she didn't have to have any extra chemo this week. So on with it. I'm going to show you this layout. And I started off by using watercolor on just plain white basil cardstock. Now the paper that I have has dots on it. It didn't really matter to me that there were some dots, so I am using this die cut piece from the Simple Stories Good Day Sunshine. I believe it's for the pocket protectors, but I wanted to use it as a stencil, so I'll probably use it in a pocket anyway. It'll just show a little bit of the yellow and the pink that I put into it, and I wet it first so that the colors would bleed a little bit more. Using this is how I just decided so far to keep some of my colors, so I don't have to keep it, because they last. All you have to do is just add a little bit of water and it reconcentrates. So here I'm just cleaning off because I use this other stencil with the diamonds, and I use blues. So those were the color theme that I was going with: orange, yellow, blues. So there's and pinks. And the pinks go, the pink and the yellow made the orange. So I didn't want to do a dry brush technique, which is pretty much where you take a dry brush, you add it to the paint, and then you just add a little bit of paint, and the paper is completely dry. I like with the watercolors, especially depending what you're doing, to have it wet first. It doesn't necessarily matter, except for it's going to be much darker if you don't add the water. So I like it. As you can see, underneath that sunburst, I do add some without. I just made it really, really light with my brush. So there's hardly any paint on it and a lot of water. So that's all I do as far as painting goes. And then I take Plumeria Pink with my Lindy Stamp Gang. And the Lindy Stamp Gang is amazing. It's very watercolory. So I don't know how a lot of other brands are, because I haven't tried any of the Glimmer Mist or the Heidi Swap Color Shine. But these are they look like watercolor. So it's really nice. And I also have a Mr. Huey's. I bought that not too long ago, and I just got it. And that is in the Color Splash. So it's a little bit more green than what is in my layout. But that's okay, because I just splattered it. So here I take some of that blue color and I flick it with my paintbrush. That's also a good way if you want to get some color on your page that you are using, so it matches completely. And then you don't waste all your paint too, you make extra. So here I let it dry, and these are the papers that I'm wanting to use, and I am trying to use up a lot of old papers with my new papers, trying to make an outdated paper more updated. And I mean, this is really the best way to get rid of your stash, your old stash that's sitting around. It's a paper that you've had for 6 months, a year. You're tired of it, but it needs to get used, or it's gonna sit in your thing for what? 2 years probably, right? I don't know. I haven't been scrapping that long, but I can tell you the papers that I got at the beginning, I haven't really touched in the past, few months, because I've gotten all these nice new papers. But if I don't use them, they're just going to sit there, and then 2 years from now, I'm going to have to try to figure out how to make a layout look nice and, like today and current, when I can tell that it's not current. And I'm pretty sure that the pads that I got were pretty old. So I do use a lot of my newer stuff on here. I will say that, with that said. But adding bits and pieces of your stash to a new papers, new product, new techniques as far as with the watercolor is really popular right now. And there's so many ways you can do it. I used a stencil type thing, but you could also just pour, you know, just make puddles of watercolor, make stripes. So here I back this journaling tag from the Chamel line with a Studio Calico that-a-way paper. So it has just a whole bunch of like travel-y words. And this picture is of me and my brother and a family friend who came to visit us when we lived in Hawaii a long time ago. So my dad was in the military, and so we were lucky to live here for a little while. So this is actually my second time living on the island. Of course, I was a kid, so here you just see me placing a lot of things. Right now I'm just playing, I'm not committing to anything. And at some point I kind of change sort of how I do things. Like right now I have a lot of things just every which way, but at some point soon. So here I use some of my punches, and that blue wavy map type paper, it's hard to see, but there's a map on it underneath the gradient. It's like an ombre effect of waves. And that paper right there with the arrows is also from Studio Calico. I really liked the colors, and I thought they matched really well with the color theme that I'm going with. So I'm just kind of playing around, seeing where I think things will fit. And at some point I realized that, you know, I really want my colors to be with light colors. So I do kind of switch some things around. The blue paper, or the tealy paper, is from the Chamel line, and that one paper with the different striped colors is also from the Chamel, and that is the branding strip. That's one thing I love about this new collection of hers, is that she uses the branding strips as another way to add something. So you don't have to, you know, you can use it and you don't have to throw it away. I mean, I know a lot of other brands are starting to do that too, but some of them it's really hard to use the whole strip, and she has it so you can use the whole thing, which I really like. So at this point I decided to cut this in half because I wanted to use it both on the top and the bottom. I flip the other one so that the blue is on the other side near where my blue tealy triangles are, or diamonds rather. Somehow, just in your mind, you want to say diamonds when it's a triangle, and you want to say triangles when it's a diamond, and shapes. So this is where I start gluing or taping things down, and this is when I realize that I want to do the light colors with light colors. I don't completely go with it, but I really do try to stick with you know, with the oranges and the pinks, with the oranges and pinks. So here I had that straight up and down, and then I decided to put it, you know, horizontal with that Chamel heart type tealy color. I don't know, it's very geometric and stuff. So I glue these punches down. I've been trying to use these punches. I want to make it worth the while that I paid for them, but I am starting to go, okay. I'm probably going to look back at all these layouts and say, oh my gosh, I went stamp crazy, but that's okay. So I did decide to put this one up near the blue near my sunburst. I'm inking the whole thing, even though I know I'm not going to need it. It's just easier to do the whole thing now. And, you know, I do that one in the teal color from the Prima ink edger. And I also use Old Road, so a gray color too. So there you see I moved that flowery, circly thing, punched paper. Now, the only thing I will say is that I didn't quite think about how far over I was putting my picture, so I covered a little bit of the background of my picture. It's not so much that I'm like, I gotta pull it up. And so I left it, but I had wished I had moved my picture over just a little bit more to the right. But in the end, it's okay. I mean, for the most part, the way that this is at up here-ish area where you're right down in Waikiki, there's the aquarium. I don't know if anybody has been there, but there's an aquarium and it's right along the beach line. It's right past Waikiki Beach, the major part of it. So they have the beach, and then they have like the old like dock type areas. So there's lots of like that brimstone-y, almost Mediterranean gates, and it goes along that way, and there are some other hotels along that way, but this is just a parking lot, and I think a lot of people come and fish there. So we had taken my mom's friend, or a friend of our family's, she came to the island to visit us, and so we took her all around, and we have lots of pictures of us with her at very touristy places, but it was so much fun. I mean, I remember her coming. I was about 8 when we lived there, 7 or 8, so I remember quite a bit, and I just remembered it being so much fun to have someone who was from the mainland, you know, living there that we knew, come and visit us, because even though we weren't there very long, you kind of get disconnected from your family and friends if they don't come and visit. So it was very nice to have her come and visit, and I remember us having so much fun. We did so much touristy stuff, and this was right before we were leaving too, because we left in the summer. I think she was there in like the early part of the summer, and we had left by the end of the part of the summer. But here I'm using a My Mind's Eye sticker that has a camera on it, and it says "Say Cheese," and it has pink and green, and so I tried to put the tealy blue color near the teal blue. And so that heart was from Capture Life, from Echo Park, and that blue sticker on the right that says "Keep Cool" is from the Good Day Sunshine from Simple Stories. So I've tied in a lot of summery aspects. I mean, that's the one thing about living in Hawaii. I feel like any layout that you do of Hawaii, you almost have to use all the summery stuff sometimes. So sometimes I feel like I'm on summer, or at least when I first started scrapbooking, I felt that way. And so I got on this kick of buying all the summer stuff, and I love the Good Day Sunshine collection, but I had already bought a whole bunch of other summery stuff, so at this point I'm just trying to work through it and get more non-themey. I guess as you get scrap and you start not caring that it's a themed and just trying to make anything work for what you're doing for everyday life. But it is sometimes nice when you have moments where you are traveling or where it is summer and it's obvious that it's summer to have those bright colors, to have those themey things. So if you mix those with non-themey things, I think it can make it look really nice. That right up in that left corner, up near those diamonds, are a word that says brilliant, and that's from the Chamel sticker booklet, which I know I'm doing a lot of this off camera, and I realize that I do this a lot, so I am very sorry, guys. But I have a little bit of space. I have a table, and so I have a little bit of space, so sometimes I sit back in my seat because I sit while I scrap, and so I'll look at stuff and I forget that the camera is only right over top. So that's the only thing with how I have my camera set up. It's not on a tripod, so I can't really move it too much more, or otherwise the top half would be hanging off. So I am trying to work on that. Because it's a table, my legs don't fit all the way underneath the table. So yeah. So here I'm looking in my little divider for some brads, because I wanted to add just some pops of these colors, and I still have a few of those brads. And I also use a bow. I have like a minty green seafoamy green maybe bow that I decide that I want to use up in that corner. And that flag banner is from My Mind's Eye Now and Then selection. I got the buttons, and so it has some chipboard banners and stuff. I also at some point soon will decide to add some washi tape. Yeah, so that one thing I will say that I didn't say because I was talking is that I did use a piece of the punched paper, so the other half, you know, the part that you can see through, and I wished I didn't do that. I wish I would have put that flower punch piece there or just left that blank or something. I don't know. I felt like I needed to fill that space up, but I really don't care for how it sticks out so much. So, I mean, it doesn't look as bad in real life, so maybe it's just the camera and the way that you see it on the camera. I do find that watching it myself back, you see things a little bit different. And sometimes I wish that you could see that when you're scrapbooking, because sometimes you put something somewhere and you're like, oh, that looked good. I don't know if anybody else has that problem or issue, but I notice that a lot now. But you would think that that would be in your mind while you're scrapping, but for whatever reason you get in that zone and you just, I mean, this week when I have time to scrap, I like just have a little bit of time, you know. I mean, I've been trying to go to bed early as a way to help keep myself healthy. That is one of the challenges I am doing with the Healthy Weight Challenge, is making sure that I am going to bed. Oh, a little jumpy. Sorry about that. Making sure that I am going to bed getting a decent amount of sleep. I think that a lot of times I get overzealous and I just want to scrap, and because my kids aren't up, you know. So I don't know if anybody else has that problem, or I get scrapping and I'm like, oh, I want to do another layout, and next thing you know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I have to be up at 7 or 8 when the kids wake me up. So, but anyway, so here I'm putting the title, and I realize that it is a little wonky. And I am just not going to care, and I'm not going to fix it. Sometimes things like that I will fix, and who knows, maybe later on when I actually go to put it in my album, I will decide. But I decided to use, these are the Simple Story Snap. I believe they're Snap. Yeah, the Snap letters. And I use the colors underneath the color of on the branding strip. So yeah, Visitor is like really wonky. I guess it doesn't look as bad in real life. So here I'm doing my journaling. Oh yeah. So here I write down that it's the summer, and then I realize that I want to use these Chamel letter stickers. I am in love with these. I don't like the packaging, like the sheet, because they're so thick that they come off really easily, but I love them. I love the color, that dark with the cream on the inside. It almost is like a chalkboardy color. So I decided to use a couple of stickers from there too, just in the color areas. And so here I do my journaling, and I just pretty much said what I also write where it is, that it's in Waikiki Beach, and I just pretty much wrote everything that I told you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed my layout, and hopefully this week, the rest of this weekend and tomorrow, which actually tomorrow, which will be today when you guys watch this on Sunday, I'm hoping to get a little bit more scrapping done. And so I hope you guys enjoy, and thank you so much for watching my videos, and thank you guys for all your kind comments that you've been leaving. I have been reading them. I've just been so busy I haven't been able to respond. So thank you guys, and have an inspired week. Bye.